What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Yarnum FM. I am Marcus. I will be your hunter, as always, here on Yarnum FM. Today we are going to jump into the Nightmare of Mensis, and this is the last main area of the game, although we do have a lot of Chalice dungeons left to do. I'm going to be using the Blade of Mercy a little bit, although I shouldn't for reasons that I'll explain in just a minute. But also, we picked up the Cosmic Eye Watcher badge last time. Notice we can buy these Beast Blood pellets right now, blue elixirs. If the Beast Blood pellets were unlocked by that Cosmic Eye Watcher badge, that's kind of an interesting little tidbit, because weren't those banned by the church? In the normal shop, we've got poison knives now, sedatives. You see me buying throwing knives here. They actually do scale with skill, and I've been forgetting about that the whole game. Like, they actually do scale now, so I can maybe get some use out of these throwing knives. But also we unlocked Rosmarinus. It's a weapon of the choir, special members of the healing church. Sprays a cloud of sacred mist. Arias are heard wherever sacred mist is seen, proving that the mist is a heavenly blessing. O fair maiden, why is it that you weep? Oh, fair maiden. How to pick up fair maidens. So now we're just going to go to the Advent Plaza here in Yahar'gul. This is the area where we defeated the One Reborn, and I'm going to go pick up these bullets even though we don't need them. Just because people were reminding me. Thank you very much for reminding me to pick this up, guys. But I mentioned the other day that I had a lot going on in my life right now. I'm just going to quickly, for you guys who don't follow me on Twitter, I'm having another baby. Like, my wife's pregnant again. So I'm really happy and excited about this. It's something that we wanted, but at the same time, I'm like in a panic. I'm like, okay, all right, let's see. The average pregnancy, prenatal care, and all that stuff in the U.S. costs like $8,800. So I'm sitting here like doing my finances and stuff, and I've just been busy. But anyway, that's what's going on with me, and I'm really excited about it. I am really excited about Epic Name Baby number 2. This room, here we see all of these, I'm going to go out on them, say these the School of Mensis members here. You see we got big and small, young and old. There's kids, there's adults, have these cages on their heads that it look to be imprisoning them, but they actually serve a different role that we'll see as we progress. But there's an awful lot of people in here. And I guess I want to go ahead and start talking about this. This actually, they are attempting to contact the old ones. That's what they are doing with these cages around their heads. And kind of the main guy here, he appears to have, it looks like he's got shackles on his hands and feet, but they're not connected to the chair at all. He's not restrained. But also looking at his clothing, it looks to be similar to student clothing. Can't tell. But when you inspect him, you end up in the lecture building. Like, my interpretation of this is you're pulled into his nightmare. You're pulled in, and this is going to be one of his alternate planes of existence. And all those guys were obviously, they're mummies. They're dead in there. They're dead, but they still exist within the dream. And that is where we get to the point about the fact that just because something is a dream in Bloodborne doesn't mean it's not real. In fact, it means it's equally real to our normal reality. It's just a different plane of existence. So it's possible to be dead in life and alive in the dream. The dream is alive, and so are you. Exploring this place, and you know, we learned last time those student guys can hang out on the ceiling, so you see me looking around, checking it out. But this is really sneaky. They actually don't have a guy on the ceiling, and then when you go to leave, he's actually up there, and he'll let you come in the room. He's scripted to let you come in the room and then get you on the way back. I wish they'd fix that texture floating in the air issue. I mean, that's like, why man? Why? Just turn off the texture effect when he's dropping, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure there's some technical reason why it's like that, but dang. In case you hadn't guessed, today's episode got a lot of lore. A lot of it's going to come from the notes that we're going to find here. And once again, this is kind of an old abandoned part of Byrgenwerth is what this seems to be. And why the Mensis nightmare is connected to it, I'm going to guess it's just a way of indicating that this is where the school of Mensis originated, where the nightmare of Mensis originated. I guess this is where their thoughts and feelings are closely associated to this place. It's one possibility. I mean, there are other possibilities as well, but here we go. First big note of the episode. Master Willem was right. Evolution without courage will be the ruin of our race. Master Willem was right. Master Willem, remember, he said, fear the old blood. He apparently also said evolution without courage would be the ruin of our race. And we know that he sought the third eye cord, the umbilical cord of a Great One, in order to line his brain with eyes. And once again, there's eyes in all these jars. So he's saying that using blood to try to evolve, to try to become a Great One using blood, ain't gonna work out. And you instead need to have courage, and you need to have insight. Hunt the Great Ones. Hunt the Great Ones. To me, that's a very interesting... Like, we don't know who left these notes. We don't know that... In fact, it's probably very likely that these notes weren't necessarily left by the same person. Maybe not even necessarily left by people with agreeing ideas about how things should be done. So, who is saying Master Willem is right? Is it somebody from the choir? Somebody that was following Lawrence in the establishment of the Healing Church and has then later decided, wait, no, Lawrence is wrong, Willem was right? Or is this someone from Mensis? Is this actually someone from Mensis who disagreed with the methods being used by the choir and wanted to do things a different way? And I think it might have actually been a note from Mensis, and this is something that we'll see a little bit later. We don't have all the evidence for that yet, but I think the Master Willem was right one might have actually been a note from Mensis. I mean, just because they're batshit fucking crazy and they go about things just because things didn't work out for them doesn't mean they weren't right. Let me put it like that. Getting some more bloodstone chunks in here. The Rider Palash doing a lot more good for me. And here's another really interesting thing. That enemy over there, that the fact that there is a church giant located in the nightmare, very intriguing to me. Especially since he's got those fucking Fist of the North Star hands, man. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of a mess right now trying to figure out the choir and Mensis' relationship. The fact that they both came from the Healing Church founded by Lawrence. Lawrence disagreed with Willem, and then somebody here in this nightmare that we got to through the connections of Mensis agreed with Willem's perspective. And also another way we could get here is through Amygdala. The Nameless Moon presence beckoned by Lawrence and his associates. Pale blood. Here we go. We're getting to it right now. Lawrence and his associates. And we know one person who's associated with Lawrence is fucking Gehrman, because he's, oh, Lawrence, what's taking you so long? I'm too old, of little use now. And in this room, little fucking baby Great One looking things in cages being dissected and shit, man. Three-third chords. That's your hint to the final ending right there. Here are the chords. Every Great One loses its child and yearns for a surrogate. Precipitated the encounter with the pale moon and the conception of the hunter's dream beckons hunters. And the other one, we know the other chord that we have so far was sought by Willem. The only choice he knew, if man were to ever match their greatness, was to line your brain with eyeballs. And as I said, I think that the folks from Mensis were actually the ones who agreed with Willem, but it just hasn't worked out very well for them. And it makes sense, too, that they would be seeking 3/3 chords. Like, somebody's figured out the secret. The secret to becoming a great one is that you need these 3/3 of umbilical cord. You need a complete one. Going back to what I was saying just a minute ago, amygdala, that's the in-game pronunciation. In English, it's amygdala, it's part of the brain. In Japanese, the name is amendozu, which does not mean amygdala. It means almond. But an amygdala is almond-shaped, so it all kind of makes sense. But the reason I say this is it's all more symbolic rather than, like, hard fact. Healing Church represented once again here with a communion room. We would expect to find runes here in Byrgenwerth, since this is where Runesmith Carol was from in the first place. We would expect to find runes, and we got more rune stuff coming up towards the end of this episode. There's some interesting things we're going to see, but I just, like, the fact that the Healing Church is here in Byrgenwerth in the Nightmare, I don't know, man. I really don't know what the significance of this fucking Flaming Hand Giant is. Don't even ask me. Other than the fact that he can... I don't know what's up with this dude. But my point about the Japanese name not literally being amygdala, and instead just meaning almond, is that a lot of people are reading a whole lot into the fact that amygdala's name is the same as amygdala, and I think those theories have some weight, some validity to them. But I just want people to remember that it's theory and not fact. Like, the game is intentionally open to interpretation. I mean, word of Miyazaki himself, he wants to leave it open not only to players' imaginations, but also his own imagination. So that's... Just bear that in mind. I'm not dissing on that theory. Here, we meet another little madman.
Oh, this cannot be. You cannot be. No, you didn't. Lord Amygdala? Oh, how did this come to pass? Now, wait just a moment. Do you think ill of me? Me? Oh, it pains me to hear it. You've made yourself a misreckoning. I shared with you a thing most secret. Now, you're witness to a miracle, and all the stronger for it. It's plain as a pikestaff. Now, say in my heart, you were as a lamb to my God. Well, you weren't to know, and it wasn't for you to know. All's well that ends well, I say. No matter. Such details are trifling. We're fast friends by now. Let this express what words cannot. Oh, doubt me not, sweet compeer. What is friendship but a chance encounter? My apologies, but I feel a profound thought occurring on the good grace of a certain God and the way he meted out his love.
So Patches, here we can open the door back to the bottom floor of the lecture hall. So you can actually do this area without getting the tonsil stone and without getting grabbed up by Amygdala. But Patches keeps referring to his god and talking about divinity and stuff like that. But Mr. Miyazaki actually revealed a little bit in the interview in the official guide. He actually talked a little bit more about Patches for us. And he says that there are lots of spider creatures like him in the game that have completely lost their sanity, but Patches has actually held on to his and is continuing his research, and he's kind of proud of him for that, which I thought that was just hilarious. But that also gives us a little bit more insight into the fact that Patches is doing research, and what's he doing? He's like capturing hunters and sending them, basically feeding them to Amygdala, and that's his research? The door to the outside leads us back into the nightmare of Mensis, and all of these fucking skull-shaped rocks, man. Creepy, creepy, creepy stuff, but it's to be expected because we are indeed in a nightmare. Of course, being in a nightmare doesn't mean it's not real. It's interesting too, if you're thinking about the dreams and reality as being different planes of existence. We can die in reality, or we can die in this nightmare world, but we are reborn because we are still dreaming in the hunter's dream. Whereas it seems to be a little bit different for like the school of Mensis. Even though some of them continue to exist in the dream, they are straight up dead in reality. Which maybe that was the whole point of the One Reborn. Like maybe they were trying to revive their compatriots who are lost in this nightmare. They're in contact with the Great Ones because they're in the nightmare, but they're dead in the real world. So maybe they were trying to revive them. I don't know. Here we encounter more silver beasts. Once again, could be taken as an indication that we're around the Loran area, or let's see, yeah. We've got some Eye of Sauron effect going on here. I'm just standing out just to show you guys. If you stand in front of its line of sight enough, you eventually start taking damage, and your frenzy builds up constantly. Fucking pain in the ass. Pain in the ass mechanic. You want to have some sedatives. If you go ahead and bump up your frenzy resist, that's going to help you out. I'm fine for now, so I'm just going to stick with my Fashionborn. But I did come back to the dream just so I could take a little break. I actually just wanted to take a little break, so sorry for the unnecessary dream splice there. And just wanted to show you guys nothing happened. I just set the controller down for a little bit. Here I'm going to come up here and bait this silver beast forward and then run back behind cover. The enemies actually can also take damage, as you see here, from... It's actually not the Eye of Sauron, it's actually the Brain of Mensis. We will encounter it fairly soon. But, boom! Silver beasts can use lightning too. Intriguing. And when you kill them, you get these those worms hopping out. Jerk ass enemies. I really hate these enemies, but... Oh, by the way, I mentioned before that I probably shouldn't be using the Blade of Mercy. And the reason why, and it's something I forgot while I was playing, and I was wondering why my Blade of Mercy was doing such piss poor damage. I forgot. I took the gems out of my Blade of Mercy, and they're currently in my Rider Palash. So... when I played this, I'm basically playing with half a weapon. And you can really see like how big an impact gems have on your damage, because my Blade of Mercy is doing, it's just like tickling these guys, like 23 per hit. Like, what? Are you serious? But I could still manage to get through thanks to the Brain of Mensis, actually, that effect. And I'm just trying to stay out of line of sight, let my frenzy go down. It's a really interesting part of the game too, because you lure these silver beasts behind cover so that you're not taking damage from the brain of Mensis, or the Eye of Sauron, however you want to look at it. The mother brain, as a lot of people call it. But if you kill one of these enemies behind your cover, it then erupts into these two worms that are attacking you behind your cover. So it's just like the worms kind of make you want to move and get out of there, whereas the brain kind of puts a pressure on you to stay still. And these kind of conflicting pressures that they put on you, it's just really, really cool design. In fact, they did that in Yahar'gul as well, where you want to rush because the enemies keep respawning, but if you instead stop and pay attention and find the hidden paths, you can hunt down the bell ringers and stop the enemies from respawning. But they put those conflicting pressures on you. One, they make you want to hurry, but then two, if you don't hurry and instead pay attention, you can have an easier way through it. Once again, I'm using blue elixirs here. You can kind of pick these guys off one by one and be careful of the rocks that they throw at you, but I just came through it like this. If I remember right, the official name for these enemies is the Giant Lost Children. And I guess that makes it kind of unclear as to whether they are lost children who have become giants, or whether they were giant children that are lost. Like, I guess that's kind of ambiguous, but I like having the official names for these enemies, like the real deal, straight from FromSoft. Like, this is what this enemy is. You can't find it in game, but it's one of those things, like normal enemies in the games have never really necessarily had official names unless they drop some equipment that had a name on it. So to me, it's just kind of a nice extra to have that knowledge. I want to get behind this guy and backstab him because my Blade of Mercy is doing so very, very little damage. You see, it's because I ain't got no gems, man. I'm a fool. A foolish fool. Get out. Those gashes on the lost giant child's back makes it look like it's been freaking tortured, whipped, or something. Ugh. 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 Nasty, nasty. And normally I would just run by all of these guys, but we're just going back and killing them because we're exploring, we're looking around, we're getting treasure, we're doing all that sort of thing. Nightmare of Mensis. Once again, Mensis related to months, although more derived from lunar cycles than solar ones, so it's pertaining to the moon, it's obviously pertaining to menstruation, and it's kind of a fucking nightmare. It's what my wife tells me anyway. Although she's not telling me that now, obviously, because, you know, pregnant. Just looking off into the distance, seeing what we could see. Interesting to me that the architecture of this place kind of reminds me of the Grand Cathedral with the clock face there. It reminds me of the Grand Cathedral at the Healing Church. So if this is a dream based off of our reality, because it's the dream of the members of the School of Mensis, they're associated with the church, so maybe that's the source of that. Or if this is actually a dream, a nightmare of a place in Loron, then maybe the architecture of Yhar'gul was based off of that. I don't know. But I think the architecture of Yhar'gul is probably more deeply rooted in the Thumeru civilization. So I don't really know. I don't know. I don't even know if they thought about it that deep, but it's worth it to think about, to check to see if they did like pay attention to those details, or if it's something that they didn't really consider. This place with these eyeballs, like spider webs to the walls, you know, a spider web's normally used as a trap to capture food, right? So could it indicate that these guys are feeding on eyeballs? Maybe that's the way they plan to get eyes on the inside, is by actually eating them. That actually would kind of makes sense because the cord of the eye, like the third umbilical cords, they seem to be lined with eyeballs. So maybe you're actually eating it, and that's allowing you to grow eyes on the inside of your head. Didn't work out too well for fake Yosefka though. That's kind of an interesting point, is that even if you have one of the 1/3 of an umbilical cord, it's not enough. You're gonna have a failed transition. Intriguing. If I remember right, these guys are Nightmare Apostles. I guess this could be fully transformed versions of whatever the fuck Spider-Man Patches was turning into. This is a pretty good place to fight the large Nightmare Apostle because obviously he, she, it cannot get to you. Can still hit you though. Can still hit you and is gonna hit me several times here. But I kind of blame my Blade of Mercy being weak as piss because if I had gems in it, this thing would already be dead. But I'm a fool. A foolish, foolish fool. One thing, it does hit very hard. So, to me, it was worth backing off and healing each time it hit me. I was doing so little damage that I thought I would use charge attacks to try to break through its defense, and I still got hit again. Whoop, no, worth it to heal every time there, bro, just in case so it doesn't one-shot you. Yep, there you go, heal it up. Heal it up. At this point, I was thinking I might just throw a pebble at it, and then I was like, oh, wait, no, remember? You got these throwing knives just for this specific purpose. Die, motherfucker. Make contact then, boys. Contact, boys. Twitch chat spamming contact, boys. Oh, man. Twitch has got its own fucking language, man. Like, people... The memes and stuff, they get to a point where it's just like, man, this is no longer English or Spanish or French. This is some foreign language that only people who spend a lot of time on here could ever hope to understand. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, this is just an observation. This isn't... I'm not criticizing or complimenting either one. I don't really know. Don't know how I feel about that, but... It's just how it is. Quicksilver bullets. Madman's knowledge. This seems like a fairly logical place to be picking up Madman's knowledge if I do say so. Nice, you get an outside view here, and it also kind of indicates to you that you're out of. There are places in the level that are out of line of sight of the Brain of Mensis. Those cages are very reminiscent of Latria. And of course, we picked up that Kin Cold blood. We would expect to find the blood of Kin in the Nightmare. I mean, it just makes sense, man. All these eyeballs. Another church corpse. I'm starting to think that might just be their default corpse because there's just so many of them. But it could be a worshiper, you never know. The Shaman Bone Blade, really interesting item. Really, really, really interesting item. A blade of bone coated with a gruesome spinal fluid, used by old labyrinth watchers, in particular those presiding over rituals. When a victim is cut by this blade, the green spinal fluid temporarily numbs the senses, disturbing the target's gross motor skills. The blade, never intended for battle, must cut deep to be effective and breaks. This actually confuses enemies. If you hit an enemy with this, they will start attacking other enemies. I believe if I remember right, they could still hit you, but they can also hit other enemies, and other enemies can attack them. So if you use it on, for example, that one of the Nightmare Apostles, then the other ones are going to gang up on it and attack it. It's interesting to have that confuse ability. You would think it would be a spell, but here we find a this enemy hunter once again, we only really know the deal. He is using weapons of the choir. He's using Ludwig's Holy Blade, and he's using Rosmarinus. Can also cast Augur of Ebrietas, or Ebrietas, however you want to say it, right there, like that. But we actually, once again, we have the official name in the guide, and it's Choir Intelligencer Edward. In other words, Choir Spy Edward. I just wanted to do the shake off cape in front of him. He actually dropped some sedatives that I picked up, but Choir Spy Edgar. So, was it Edgar or Edward? I don't know, and it doesn't really matter. He's a spy for the choir or against the choir? Well, probably for the choir, because he's using choir weapons here in the Nightmare of Mensis. So it seems likely that he's spying on Mensis. And interestingly enough, he's wearing plain student clothing, which is something that would kind of work either way. Like, it could work for the choir or it could work for the School of Mensis, because they both have their roots in Byrgenwerth. Very interesting. But it's also further evidence that Mensis and the choir not on such good terms with one another. We have a spy. So whether he is a choir spy against Mensis or a Mensis spy against the choir, either way. Special body parts gathered by the church. Yellow backbone, man. These enemies in this room are not aggressive. Unless you attack them. And I'm trying to get a look at the coat of arms on his chest there. It kind of looked like the, what was it, the Dueling Griffins or whatever. It kind of looked like Canehurst a little bit, but I can't really get a good look at it. I'll try to give you guys a better look via a freeze frame or something. But much more importantly to people who are having trouble with the area, there is a shortcut elevator. A very, very important shortcut elevator. Better still, this shortcut elevator, fucking no nonsense, no bullshit, leads us right back to a lamp. And this is very near to the other lamp that we saw earlier. We can actually just walk down this pathway and get back to the first lamp that's down in front of the brain of Mensis. But there's something else to do down here. There's actually a rune located over here that I want to get by killing these guys off. I was going to try to push them off the cliff, and oh yeah, I succeeded. I couldn't remember if I did or not. See my Rider Pelage doing a lot better for me, particularly with the bolt paper, of course. It's one of the great advantages of the Rider. First time I ever saw the words Rider Pelage was actually Valkyrie Profile 1. Just a little random note there. What we're about to pick up here, though, this is just kind of really fascinating to me. We're about to pick up an eye rune. Now, we already have an eye rune that we got from killing Master Willem. We actually got a higher level eye rune, so we don't really need this one. But what I want to say about this, the eye rune, a secret symbol left by Carol Runesmith of Byrgenwerth, and it says that Master Willem looked for higher planes for guidance, sought to line his brain with eyes, all this stuff. When we killed him, we got a rune, but if you read the rune tools description again, it says Provost Willem would have been proud of Carol's runes, as they do not rely upon blood in any measure. So how is it that he had a rune on his brain when he was before the time of Carol? And I think it comes down to the fact that these are the words of the gods, and you see this hunter's mark, an upside down rune etched in one's mind, symbol of a hunter. We know this is a rune. We know this is a word, one of the words of the Great Ones. Like, these things, Carol doesn't have to write them. These are literally the words of the Great Ones as they've been transcribed. So, and here it is here. This is more proof. This is a Carol rune, the hunter rune. So, Master Willem could actually have the words of the Great One in his mind without Carol putting it there. Or it could be, another way to interpret it is that maybe that's the reason why frickin' Willem is so batshit crazy, is because he had this stuff inscribed in his brain. But I think it's more like that the words of the Great Ones were just already there. Just like the hunter, the word hunter, the Great One word for hunter is in our head and has been since the beginning of the game and will never go away. So our relationship to this world, is it rooted in the blood transfusion that we got at the beginning? Possibly. Is it rooted in something deeper that we've actually heard the words of the Great One marking us, branding us as a hunter? Also possible. A lot of people are going to bring up the Berserk reference with the rune. Totally cool. Totally get that. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's lots of fun stuff going on now at this point. The choir versus Mensis, the relationship of having these eyeballs in your head, getting a +9 Rider Palash, putting the correct gems on it. And we also got an upgraded anti-clockwise metamorphosis rune from Patches. And what's great about this is this shit stacks, man. See, we're gonna go up to 139, but if I take this one off, we're down. Actually, if I take them both off, I think we go down to like 110. Yeah, 110, and then we can go up to 121 or 126 if we equip one or the other. But if we equip them both, we can go all the way up to 139. So that's gonna solve our stamina issues for now. And that's gonna wrap up today's episode. I will catch you guys on the next Yarnum FM. Bonus patches!
Now, wait just a moment. Do you think ill of me? Me? Indeed, I should think not. I shared with you a thing most secret. Now you're witness to a miracle, and all the stronger for it. You should appreciate it, if you've a grain of gratitude in you. Yes. Appreciate it. No matter. Such details are trifling. We're fast friends by now. Let this express what words cannot. Oh, doubt me not, sweet compeer. What is friendship but a chance encounter? Well met. My apologies, but I feel a profound thought occurring on the good grace of a certain god and the way he meted out his love. Well met. On the good... That was uncharitably done. That was uncharitably done, dear friend.